Well, here we are. We're going to take a quick look at everything that we've got sitting out for my little design of the cannon, starting with a few of the prototypes. So the first prototype was weak as hell. So started off with the standard sort of beam design, everything running up, but when it came time to test it, thing was completely underpowered, as you're about to see. Basically, it just had absolutely no warmth whatsoever, totally useless, so off we went to prototype 2. So for prototype 2 we went with Jeremy Clarkson's philosophy of more power equals good. So I tried to chuck as many as I could fit onto the blueprint designer as possible, and then yeah, see what happens. Turns out you do get quite far with it, but unfortunately not enough power for some reason, so I needed to figure out what was going to be the optimal angle. Which obviously wasn't the angle that I was working with, so off to Blueprint 3. So Blueprint 3 I got so annoyed with I deleted it and forgot what I even made. All that's left of that is the base, which I started using for the other blueprints. Blueprint 4 though, I went in totally different directions, and was getting frustrated with the angular design not working. I tried making this one here sort of in the Hadron Collider style. Unfortunately, quite temperamental. Sometimes would work, sometimes would throw you straight vertically up. This one though, I do intend to actually do a bit more work with. I want to try and make something work out of this design. I just think I need to tweak it quite a bit to make it fully functional and not prone to what it does next. So the next prototype design was when I was getting too frustrated with the angular design. I went for something in terms of a straight look design that you see from everything else, but trying to incorporate a angled piece on the end of it that I could hide in sort of a faux turret. Unfortunately, I didn't like the look of it at all, even though it did function perfectly well. It wasn't what I was wanting to try and make. So this is when I went a bit weird and out left field and created what I termed the Scorpion, which sort of operates a bit like a trebuchet, throwing you from one end up and around and up out the top. Sadly, did not work at all, but I would like to actually see if I can make something like that work and see what might be involved mechanics-wise to get it to function properly. So this is when I finally got to the design that actually worked. So this was the basic layout that I had in the blueprint, and showing you a bit of the positioning for it if you want to give it a crack yourself. I found the optimal angle was sitting, if you've got 4 foundations, sitting like that, and then hitting the middle section, starting from the bottom tip. It won't line up with most other things in the game, but yeah, it seems to be the perfect angle for them to sit on. As I had repeated that full design process at each increment, starting from the top and heading down. When it works, it works. So this was the test fire prototype. So originally I did try to see if I could incorporate something in terms of the conveyor belt Mark V running underneath of it. Unfortunately that hump towards the top of it ends up killing you every single time you went through the thing, so I couldn't make it work. If I can figure out some way of getting conveyor belts to stick to that line without curling up, that might actually be something viable to getting a bit more speed. Let's get these foundations out of the way and give her a test fire. Now this is where I learned about the limits of momentum when you've got something set up on an angled setup like this. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. And there it is. So it works perfectly, but unfortunately when your body's being thrown into a particular angle, game doesn't like it. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of the shots that I've done around my base here. So the first one I chucked on the rooftop of my base, chucked onto a power supply there to fire out across to the savannah. So out towards the savannah I've got quite a bit of an operation, rebuilding an entire railway track that I'm looking to try and encircle the map with. And that's why you always make sure to check everything's in place before you jump into a tube that you don't know what's at the other end. So one thing I did find is that you do need to remove the end piece in a lot of cases. Sometimes you'll fly through it just fine, but if it's not there, 100% of the time it's fine. If it is there, sometimes you'll die to it, sometimes you'll go through it just fine. And off we go. So obviously without a launch system like a level 5 belt into it, you will be relying a bit more on the jetpack to sort of keep yourself in full momentum the entire time, but I mean, at the end of the day, for something that's only trying to get you across about quarter of the map, it's doing the absolute job that it needs to be doing. And if you wanted to set it up against a cyclotron or up against a level 5 belt, then I'm sure you'd be able to absolutely cream that that sort of distance. So this one fired out across my 500 gas plants that I've got, delivering about 82,000 kilowatts at the moment. So take a look underneath it there. You've got an easy access power supply which you can route underneath of it nice and easily. Connect that up to a switch if you want to have it for a turn off, turn on, turn off situation, or in my case where I've got quite an excess of power, don't really need to worry about that in most situations. This one I've already taken the end cap off of, so that one's all ready to go. Time to take flight. And without any sort of assistance at all, that gets us across to the air perfectly. Less than a 10-second trip, nice and easy. Then it's just down to setting up something else on the other end to fire you back up top. Until the game decides to throw you into the stratosphere. And yes, before all the top comments read about me needing to organise my blueprints, I know. So that's it spawning in from the blueprint with that one there. All the other ones I had pre-placed them and reloaded the game as I find the signs don't load in, like right now you can't see any of the illuminated sections. And off we go. See, that time it worked with the end cap in place. No issues whatsoever. Even maintaining a little bit more momentum than a couple of the other shots. So it can depend heavily upon... oh, let's try to land on the moth. Come on. Come on, boy. There we go. Hey, look at that. You can pet him now. That's awesome. And yes, I have designed this base around this guy's flight path. Planning to design everything around this guy's flight path, so it's going to be quite a majestic sight to see him taking off over the base. It'll be great. And there's a nice little nighttime shot with lumen activated and full graphic settings, everything on with this one. I find that even though this will sit at 60 FPS on my 2060, that doesn't stay like that. Once I start moving around quite a bit more, particularly with it being quite unstable at the moment. As you can see, plenty of jitteriness as I start looking around, and don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but trains in particular seem to be a real killer at the moment. Nice shot to end the video. Thanks for watching.